It's like the Dreamcasters. It's the podcaster's dream setup.
Sega Dreamcast.
Sega Dreamcast. Can we talk about the Sega Dreamcast?
I don't really remember it. I mean, I do remember they had some pretty basic games like
Yeah.
they had hockey, they had basketball. I remember playing on Dreamcast, but Dreamcast kind of sucked.
You think so?
Controllers sucked.
I mean, dude, but you could play what was it? You could play like solitaire on it. If you remember it, like the
I
memory
don't.
cards.
No,
Yeah, like on the memory cards, some of them, I don't know why. You remember what it looked like, right?
I do.
It had that little square window thing.
Yeah.
You could like put a memory card in there and play solitaire on it, like on the controller. Or Snake. You could play Snake on there. Brick.
Yeah.
Could play Brick.
Snake was good. I remember you could play Snake on the cell phone.
Oh yeah, dude, the old Nokias.
Yeah.
The invincible Nokia.
The Razer had it.
Yes. Do you want some water, by the way?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
My mouth always gets so dry.
Sega though.
We can talk about Sega.
Sega was the shit. You had Sonic. You had,
Which one though? Which one's your fave?
I think the first one, dude. Like, OG Sonic. I don't remember. I had to have been a little kid. I don't remember. I remember playing fucking Sonic and running around the fucking hoops, collecting the fucking rings.
I remember my Sonic games. I like Sonic and Knuckles.
Got it.
Sonic and Knuckles, but that was, I don't know what it was about Knuckles. Like the first time I saw Knuckles, I like fell in love. I was like, who is this badass? Like,
Yeah. So I remember my favorite game was FIFA 98.
Interesting.
And I played the shit out of FIFA. I don't even like soccer, but I love it.
You don't even like soccer?
I don't. I remember the most confusing game was PGA Tour.
Really?
Yeah, and I remember Madden was super dope. Madden was super sick because you could run backwards and run around the entire defense. Like they couldn't catch you. Like it was pretty fucked up.
That sounds kind of fucky.
It was.
Did you? I'm surprised you jumped around the one game that I did play that was sports related. You play NBA Jam?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, dude, like breaking that backboard with the fucking ball on fire, best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
I used to do that to my uncle all the time.
Man, and then was it Sega? No, I don't think Sega had Mortal Kombat. That was Nintendo.
No, it had
Did it have Mortal Kombat?
yes, because I remember picking up a Mortal Kombat 3 Sega cartridge for like
who
$4.
lets their fucking kids play Mortal Kombat?
Dude, those games, we should not have been playing those games. Fucking like Scorpion like ripping an entire skeleton out. Like I probably shouldn't have seen things like that.
Yeah, that was pretty fucking brutal.
Plus like
Who was the dude who had the fucking 4 arms?
Goro.
Goro.
Yeah.
That dude was scary.
He's a badass. Did you see the movies?
Yeah, of course.
Dude.
I was obsessed with the movies.
Wait, hot topic. I think, aren't they supposed to be bringing like Mortal Kombat back as a movie?
I have no clue. You're way more up to date with the trends than I am.
Apparently not as much as I should be.
Mortal fucking Kombat.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be dope. Anyway, welcome to Studio 475. I think I'm past the point of introducing myself. I don't know what episode this is. My name's Tim. Today I have my buddy Curran Alvarez.
Yo, what
How
up?
you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me here.
Thanks.
This is pretty cool.
It's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So what do you do? That's a super vague question I ask everybody.
I hate that question. So I would say most of my time I spend being a full-time dad.
Hell yeah. That's dope.
For me, I have a currently 3.5-year-old son and an 8-month-old daughter. And for me, I always wanted to be a dad. Well, I always wanted my dad around, but my mom and my dad split up when I was probably, I don't know, a year old. And so my mom ended up moving from Miami, Florida to where she grew up in this tiny cornhole town called Centerville, Indiana, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up literally in the middle of nowhere.
Gotta love cornfields.
And so, that being said, I remember this feeling growing up of always wishing my dad was around. Not saying my dad was a bad dad by any means, but my dad lived across the country, and as a little kid, I remember like thinking, why isn't he at my games? Why doesn't he call? to see how I'm doing as often as because you're marketed so young what a dad should be.
Yeah, the idea is like basically thrown right at you, and you don't get to decide or even have an opinion.
And absolutely. And so it's like, as a little kid, you're like, oh, you see all this quote unquote fairy tale type dad, which, you know what, some people have that dad. To me, that's phenomenal, and thankfully I get to be that dad. But it's like, so for me, one of my main things I remember was like this feeling of wanting to be close to my dad. And so when I had kids, I guess you would say I definitely overcompensate a little bit in the area of like wanting to be super dad.
Yeah.
And so it's like, for me, I made it a priority to figure out how to make money and still be able to be home with my kids.
Fair.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, so for me, I got involved in the direct selling space. I guess some people would call it network marketing. Some people would call it, it's got a lot of different names. But I started seeing that, a lot of times actually women were saying, hey, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I found a way to make an extra $800. This is how I'm doing it right here from my phone. And I'm like, well, shit, if they can do it, I can do that. Right. I mean, I will say I'm not the most educated, I guess you would say, academically in school.
Same.
I barely made it out of school alive. I played in a deathcore, hardcore band, it's from like 16 growing up. And I skateboarded my whole life. So I guess you would say I lived that whole like
skater, bro.
Skater life, and so for me, what I do is I guess you would say I try to figure out who I really am at the core, while being a dad, while being a husband to a badass. My wife is a professional tattoo artist. And
let's give her a shout out.
Yeah, my wife, Liz Alvarez Art on Instagram.
Hell yeah.
Dude, she is just absolutely just blowing my mind every single day with what she does. But I mean, being able to like be and put on all these different hats, I feel like it's something that I'm very, very humbled like to be able to do, and very grateful to be able to do, because I think it's setting up the next generation. It's showing my kids what's possible. It's kind of breaking the cycle of what my parents had to do to get by, etc. You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of parents, obviously in the middle class or low, they don't see their parents that much. Like, let's just be real,
dude.
They just have to work to be able to survive. Like, that is just the fucking facts. Like, they have to work to pay the bills and feed you, and school and sports and clothing, and I mean, it adds up fast. And people don't, I mean, you don't have kids yet, but dude, it adds up fast. Like, when it's when it's not just you, and you're like, okay, so I got to work 2 jobs, I got to work 3 jobs, and a lot of people don't realize that over time, the detriment that has on your physical health, your mental health, your soul's health. Like, it literally fucking robs you of your dreams, your purpose, like everything that you were put on this earth to do, to be able to survive in the system that we live in. And so it's like, for me, I'm passionate about helping people get the fuck out of that system and finding a way to do what they love while being able to make some fucking money on the side. You know what I mean? Because it's like, so for me, like, that's number one. That's important. That to me is like, that's what I live for. And it's like, I can't put that in a career. I can't put that in a name. I can't put that in a box. It's just how I live. I live in such a way, and I try to, and I'm horrible at it. I have horrible days. I try to live my best so that other people are somehow inspired to live their best.
Boom.
And I'm
gonna make an inspirational video out of that. Like,
yeah, I don't know what you do with that, but that to me, man, it's like, it's everything. It's like, what's the point of even being alive if you're not trying to go for what you were put here to do?
Dude.
Shout out to Matt Klimmer at Aisle 9 Tattoo, man, who he once told me, one of my early mentors, he said, the desires of your heart are foreknowledge of your future, and they were put there for a reason, on purpose.
Power.
And so it's like that right there. When, I mean, he was like one of the first guys who you know, like I was telling you earlier, believed in me and spoke life into me and opened up just, holy crap, like I am cut out for more than just washing dishes at Chipotle. You know what I mean? Holy crap, I knew that there was more. But what's crazy, it was nothing out there. It was like all in here. And like so many people don't take the time to like take a look at the conditioning that we've had to go through. Some people, dude, I thank God, grew up in a bubble, have been through some fucked up shit. From, I mean, molestation to rape to fucking seeing a physical abuse to seeing, I mean, people have seen some crazy shit, dude. And it's like, now these kids are adults. And there are consequences to people having to experience that. And so it's like, for me, like I said, I think that changing the world, I know it's a pretty bold fucking statement.
Hey, I mean, that's honestly
starts at where parents, like, starts at where, like, being recommitted and reconnected to what is actually fucking important and real. And I know that's so like that, you know, it varies, but like things, simple things like fucking nature, obviously,
dude,
like obviously you should be in the fucking grass with no shoes on every once in a while, or go to the beach. Obviously you should eat more fucking fruits and vegetables. Like,
yeah, these are super obvious things.
These
that,
are
like,
things that people
they
are
seem like
so
luxuries.
disconnected from. Like, as if it's like some kind of like, you get made fun of if you decide to be healthy. How how insane is that? People literally will defend what they believe in so hard that they will bash you trying to live better. It's crazy. Think about it.
Dude, I don't know. There's like two sides of it. It's like
There definitely is two sides.
There's like either the people that are jumping on it because it's cool, or there's, well, I'll say three sides because I feel like I kind of fit into it.
There's a bunch of sides, yeah.
So like you have the people that are jumping into it because it's super cool, which, to be honest with you, most of the time those people probably don't need it anyway.
Right.
You can look at them. Either they've been in the gym forever and they fit into one of the other categories, or they just like really don't need it and they're just going to fucking listen to their brand new on their new headphones on the treadmill. But you know who I'm talking about, okay? No, and then you have the people that do get made fun of, and you're like, oh, you're just, I don't know, like you said. And then you have the people that like don't talk to anyone, like me. So I just like was kind of doing it anyway. So
well, I remember like as a kid, like my parents would be like, they would say shit like, if you want to eat healthy, buy your own food.
Oh,
you know what
yeah,
I mean?
dude.
And you're just like, what?
Good luck telling your parents you're vegetarian or vegan. Yeah, dude. Good luck.
That is the 100% most true statement on earth.
Oh, no, we eat milk and eggs in this house, boy.
If you're hungry, you'll eat it.
Yeah. If I made it, you'll eat it. You go ahead, go be hungry. My dad didn't at all talk like that, but that's my imaginary dad.
Right. Well, and I guess, you know, this brings it back full circle, man. It's just like, dude, I think it's important that people just get reconnected to just simple things and what, again, I think is like what is real, what is important. Being around your kids, showing them things that like I feel like are key. Different cultures, different colors, different tastes, different smells. Showing them that it's okay to struggle. Showing them that it's okay to fail. Showing them that it's okay to be vulnerable. A lot of these things, like, people put up this like you have to be tough. Like I actually
I'm a victim of that.
I spent most of my life, look at me, I mean, I'm literally covered in tattoos, trying to be tough, and people would always be like, man, you're the nicest person I've ever met.
Well, like, damn it, thank you.
That's not what I was going for here, but you know, and so it's like, I don't know, I think if just in general, what I like to do, man, and what I stand for just in general is just for people to be more connected to what their purpose is. And it may not be stay-at-home mom's big enough. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be anything like that's a full-time thing. Like, you know,
man, like that's no person that's not already a mom could understand, and like, or a parent, you know,
right?
Like if you're not already that, you couldn't understand. It blows my mind. I have enough time keeping track of my own shit to like have two little ones that I'm like, You won't make it anywhere
that need full attention.
that unless I get you there. Like,
That need full attention while you're trying to get there.
when is Father's Day?
I have no idea.
Oh,
I have no clue.
I can't miss Father's Day. I always do this though. I'm a terrible son. I love you, Dad. I need to remember these things.
Yeah, you're right.
Every time I get in this
should.
topic, that's like my first thought. I was like, I know my dad's birthday. Never worried about that. Father's Day, I'm like, oh,
wow.
shit.
Yeah.
Did I miss it?
Speaking of dad, my dad and my wife have the same initials, and their birthdays are a day apart. It's pretty crazy.
That's spooky.
Yeah.
It's pretty spooky. How far along were you with her before you figured that out?
Probably like 3 years. Yeah, we had a pretty interesting relationship, man, because it was like when I don't know if I told you earlier, but I was playing music, working that job, like fast food job, like trying to make music work, and like out of nowhere everything falls apart like in the blink of an eye after like 5 years of like full throttle, you know. And so it's like there I was, like 22 years old, like what am I going to do with my life, right? I just gotten fired from my job. They fired me. My band broke up, and I got a call from my brother saying my mom was super sick. She ended up spending the next like almost 3 years in intensive care. That being said, I'm at like a very young age, 22 years old, driving a big old van that got like 10 miles to the gallon, you know. It's like I make $7 an hour, and I'm like, I've got to make some like big life decisions here. Like it was kind of like one of those moments where I was like kind of forced into adulthood, I guess you would say. I was still living in my parents at 22, barely could pay my phone bill, you know. And it was like, here I was. This was an opportunity for me. I called the place I got fired from and said, hey, I don't think you should have fired me. And they actually told me I could transfer from where I was to a different location. And I got transferred to Inglewood, Ohio. I had never even been to Ohio, really.
Wait, so you had it like basically told you had to move? How far of a drive was it for you? Like, was it
almost an hour and a half?
like out of the way?
Yeah, out of the way from my house here
to
Inglewood. And so it was like, dude, that being said, I wasn't homeless. I still have my parents, but I was too broke to make it home.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's where I was going with that.
And so I was like, I stayed in my van. I slept on my manager's couch. And, dude, lo and behold, an angel walked through the door one day to grab her schedule and walked right back out. And I'm like, who was that? And someone's like, oh, that's Liz. She's a tattoo apprentice. She's going, I think they said she's going to some tattoo convention, something along those lines. So I didn't even see this girl for another 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Comes back, and she actually ends up working there for probably another month and a half. And she puts in her 2-week notice to go tattoo full time. And this, like, the timing of it all was like so divine, because I had just gotten there, like, and this was, I basically was like, all right, I'm going all in. I ended up running that whole store and ended up becoming the manager of that restaurant, running it, you know. And so it was like, I realized very quickly though, when she was going to work, I was coming home, and when she was coming home, I was going to work. And I realized, like, man, I want to have a family someday with this girl. Yeah, and this is obviously fast forwarding quite a bit. But I want to have a family someday with this girl. I want to be able to spend time with this woman. I want to be able to, you know, do things with this person. Something's got to change. And lo and behold, that's when I finally said, okay, like, I'm going to take this business opportunity that I've been shown at this point. I'm like, I'm going full fucking throttle with this. And I did the most ignorant thing. I quit my job. Shouldn't have done that. Don't quit your job.
I can't attest to that. I quit my job last year too.
Yeah, so I just literally was like, 2-week notice. I'm out of here. I'm going to figure this thing out, do or die. And I didn't figure it out for probably 3 more years. Wheels turn. And finally, things started to click when I realized, if you want to get somewhere in life, for anyone listening, you don't get paid for taking the tougher route. You don't get paid for doing it on your own. You don't get paid for being self-made. I know that'll be contradictory to what some gangster people will tell you.
Right.
But that being said, if you understand that people have been where you're trying to go, and you can humble yourself enough to know that you know nothing and ask the people who have been where you're trying to go what to do, only then will you get to where you want to go faster, more effective when you want to. It's like you have to be able to like drop that down. And so it's like when I hit the gun full throttle for 3 years, what I'm trying to tell you is I was so uncoachable, and I was so ego driven, and I was so, I'll figure it out on my own. I got this. That was my mentality with the whole thing. And finally, around year 3.5, I'm like, you know what? Let me just ask someone who's done this for a few pointers, for a few tips. And that's what changed everything for me. And everything started to shift and shift and shift and shift. And next thing you know, through just pure faith in where I'm going and my mission, I end up sitting in the room with 12 of the most successful people, some of the most successful people in my entire industry that I'm in now. Me, at 27 years young, in a room with people who make millions and millions of dollars, who have served sometimes hundreds of thousands of people. One guy in the room had served over 700,000 people over his almost 30-year career, 40-year career. That was pretty impressive. And so for me, one of probably 12 or 13 people in the room, and this isn't to toot my own horn, but to be in that room with that kind of just, I don't even know, pure power, like just raw abundance, this energy ball where you just feel unstoppable, like when you're in this room. And you're in there and you realize, holy shit, man, like there's things you see in what you're doing that have been blind spots that could have taken you years or maybe even lifetimes to even figure out. You may not have even ever like saw one of these blind spots that you had if you hadn't gone and learned from other people, if you hadn't gone and invested in yourself to be able to see those blind spots. Because a lot of times it comes from other people sharing. That's why it's called a blind spot. You just literally can't see it.
Right.
And so it's like when you have people sharing at that level of just pure, just trying to make a difference in the world, all these people have amazing hearts. And so it's like these people.
I didn't, hang on real quick. I just realized I didn't set a timer. What time are we at?
I don't know.
Oh my God, I'm blind. All right. We're at 22 minutes.
Okay.
We got to take a break around 25.
Sweet. We can.
Go ahead and continue. I'm mesmerized. If you've got like 3 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Here we go.
So, in general, in summary, invest in yourself is what I'm getting at here. Through it thick and thin, through it all, invest in yourself. Find people who are doing what you want to do and ask them how to get there. That's if you're looking, I don't know. I mean, I know you guys talk about all kinds of funny stuff on the podcast, so the rest of this will be a flip. But
I mean, realistically, it's actually like I'm glad that we had this because it's been pretty lighthearted up until now. But I do have depth. I'm a clown, but I wear a lot of different hats, just like you.
Yeah, same. And so it's like, that being said, just make sure that if you have something you want to do, just know that you can do it and know that there's people out there who have done it, and all you have to do is find a way to get in touch with those people.
It's very powerful advice.
Totally doable. You know what I mean? And whatever it is you want to do. And like Gary Vee says, like, tell them you will work for free, whatever it takes to get your foot in the door. And once you get your foot in the door, the conversation at that table is different.
Some real powerful shit.
Yeah. And you just realize, holy crap, man, like, you just start quantum leaping. You shave years off of your learning curve.
I have an interesting rebuttal to that. But
yeah,
we're going to
take a break.
Do a one of welcome back. We didn't go anywhere.
No, but we did have a little good side chat.
We did have a nice little side chat. So first, Acacia Strain put new music out, so that's what we listened to. A little bit strange though. I wish I knew the insider of like why they put that one album out recently and then immediately after dropped the EP with the 2 songs. It's kind of weird. They put a whole full album out. Did you see that?
I did see that. I you know what, man? I think people just, and this is just a theory, it's just a theory. I think people just actually just try things to see if something will work. I think it.
There's burp number 1 on
Nice.
Studio 475. Okay.
Yes. Well, dude, no, I really think it's super important to try and be as innovative as possible. And I know it sounds weird, but that's what innovation is. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, yeah, you just dropped an album, and guess what? We got 2 more for you. Okay.
I mean, fire, dude.
It's like, okay, well, that's fucking weird, but that's pretty fucking dope.
Yeah,
and
dude.
Next thing, because maybe someone listens to the album, they're like, damn, like, I wish there was fucking more.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that was sick. And they're like, oh, by the way, here's 2 more for you. That's kind of cool. And so it's like, maybe, like I said, total theory. You never know. People jump on shit like that. Next thing you know, fucking bands will be recording albums and dropping 2-song EPs afterwards.
Right. yeah, just because this one thing happened. But it's crazy because like I listened to the album, went in one ear out the other. But they put out this 2-song EP, and really, to be honest with you, the second song, it's good. I enjoy it, but every album or EP is gonna have a best song on it.
Right.
Feed a Pigeon, Breed a Rat. I can't turn it off.
Right.
It's been on repeat for like the last week.
Well,
so it's just weird how they dropped this whole album. It's like, yeah, and then like this 2-song thing, and it's blowing up. Not in just my Spotify, but like my whole Facebook is nothing but like, yeah, the new Casey is fucking hard.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I feel like information reaches you where you're at. And if it meets you where you're at, it hits. You know what I'm saying? And so I think like if they were able to capture the feeling of where the world's at, I think that's the reason why people vibe to it.
I wonder if that album blew up anywhere else. Like because it, like I said, it didn't get a lot of traction here at least.
Right.
I wonder if it did well anywhere else. Does that happen with albums? Like where like certain parts of the world will do super well, and then like one part of the world is like still just listening to this one thing, or do musicians even get analytics that way? Once you get to a point.
I don't know. Maybe. I have no idea. I do know. I was under the impression that albums are pretty much dead. However. Like
yeah, I mean,
someone putting out like 12 songs. Like, I feel like it's so much harder to drop like singles. Like, you know, what I'm saying drop a single once a month. Like, people just aren't thinking creatively enough when it comes to music. Like, you got all these dudes like, and I'm sorry if you're listening to this because I got so many friends still trying to make it.
It's okay. I literally almost every person I've had on so far has been a musician or in the realm.
Cool. Well, and this is just hopefully a little nugget that you can take and run with in your own way. And so it's like I went full throttle, like I said, from 2008 to like 2013. Music was plan A and plan Z, no other option, you know. And so I realized though, now that I've kind of taken a step back, like over the last 7 years, I've kind of taken a step back. I see a lot of people still trying to do the same thing, and people don't realize time's changing, things are changing.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that's constant is change. And so trying to do the same thing that someone else did and it's not working is like trying, I don't like this phrase, but beating a dead, horse.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, it's like, okay, how can I provide value to an audience that will actually pay me to survive as an artist, as a musician, right? And so it's like the way I think about it, like in terms of like, and I always talk about business because it's just like I love business.
It's applicable.
I love
if
business,
you allow it to be.
But it's like I think that like people just aren't thinking creatively enough. So instead of, hey, let me go record 12 songs, release an album, go on tour, get merch, and then promote the shows, right? Like that's literally the path of most musicians. Okay. Most people, for some reason, aren't understanding that a lot of people who listen to them are aspiring musicians and also people who just love, who really would just love anything that you put out. And so I think as a creative way to be able to make it as an artist. And I've seen a few people do this actually. Like for example, David Puckett, who was the drummer for the Crimson Armada, and then he ended up going on to be the drummer for For Today for like probably the last like 2 years that they were together. And so David actually has some kind of academy where he is teaching people. He provides people with opportunities to learn from these musicians he's toured with over the years, to learn from these specific artists and learn directly from them. And I think that's so cool to like be able to be like, hey, I want to learn from Alex Wade from Whitechapel, right? And
that's pretty nuts. Yeah.
And then there's like a course from Alex Wade, you know. And so I think like that's kind of cool. But people, I think in general, should start taking the idea or the concept of like, dude, I remember like just wishing there was someone who would walk me through how to play a riff. I remember feeling like I wish someone would show me how to write a song. I remember seeing people knew how to record music. No one ever showed me how to record. I had to figure it out after years of trial and error on my own. It's sounding horrible.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's like, provide value where there's a problem. Provide a solution where there's a problem, and that's how you make money. And it's not like greedy. You're providing value. If you know something that someone else does not know, it doesn't matter how fucking smart you are, that's valuable. And so it's like you can take a free Facebook group. It does not cost you a penny to start a Facebook group where you show a guitar lick a week, right? You show someone how to play a riff a week, every Friday. You do that consistently. Consistently is the key word. It doesn't mean 1 week you do it, 1 week you don't. You show up once a week, free lick Friday. You do a guitar lick after about a year of you doing different promotions. Hey, anyone who adds a friend to the group this week is going to be entered in to win some Ernie Ball strings. Hey, anyone who fucking does this, you're going to win a free set of pickups. You know what I mean? Like you could do whatever the fuck you want, but it's like, you know, you make the prizes whatever, but you build your audience, right? Of all these people coming in and learning licks, you say, hey, show me this lick that I played this week, but play it in your own way, and let me see you add it to a drum beat, or let me see you kind of continue on with the riff that I just showed you, right? Coolest riff is going to win a shirt, right? But like, how long would it take to grow a group, a free group, to like 5,000 people, 10,000 people? It wouldn't take that long if you're providing value, right? I mean,
interesting, yeah.
Right? And so you're providing value. People are coming into the group. They see this free guitar lick a week. You're sharing cool videos that you see, that you come across throughout the week. You're answering people's questions. You have a little support team there with you, making sure there's not a bunch of spam and kind of dumb shit going on in your group. All of this is free. You just find your friends to build this group with you. Okay? Well, guess what? Your group grows to 10,000 people in a year, right? Let's just say hypothetically. And you decide to drop your first single for 99 cents. You got 10,000 people in your group that you've been providing free value to for over a year. You drop your first single for 99 cents. Even if only half the people buy, you still just made 5 G's. Tell me the last time as a musician you made 5 G's.
Dude, like no one makes that kind of money.
And so guess what? You keep doing what you do. But guess what? Now you bring in fucking the guitar player from Slipknot somehow. You know, you get a hold of him. He's your homie. And he comes in and he does a guest video for you. And he's doing it. And you're just providing value for free. And guess what? You decide, you know what? I'm going to make a fucking t-shirt for this group. This group is actually turning into something cool. This t-shirt's going to be up for sale for $15.99. You got
it's crazy. Like I don't want to.
No,
you're doing
this
great.
Is your podcast.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
It's so like for me as growing up, I wanted to do YouTube. I don't know why I watch PewDiePie a lot. That's basically what I wanted to do. Okay. Yeah. And you know, I went through that whole thing of YouTubing, how to grow YouTube. How do I do this? How do I do that? And everyone's talking about how like the intentions of like what you want to do with the thing is the most important thing on the forefront. But I like the way that you explain that because you had both the intentions and the game plan. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like all these people were like, just, you know, fuck the game plan. I don't need to worry about that until it comes, which that has its value.
Right.
That has plenty of value because I like thinking on my feet. I usually wake up like 30 minutes before I have to do anything.
Same. I do that a lot.
But you had something that give you the intention that's honest, and also like a game plan,
Absolutely. And then you have a meetup, and then you have a little clinic where you know what I mean. You have a little event where literally people can come, and you have X guitar player come and this guitar player come, and you can literally build your own little business as a musician and support your family and be able to be home and not have to work in a. Dude, you know how many fucking friends I have that work in shitty ass factories?
I used to be one of them.
Me too.
Yeah.
And it's horrible. And I know friends who've been doing it for freaking 5-6 years now because they're not playing music anymore. But they're so talented. They're so gifted. They have so much value and depth and experience that most people don't have, especially that new musician who is hungry, who does have that fire, who is willing to risk it all. You have value to give to that artist. You know what I mean? And people just don't understand that. And so it's like if you're an artist and build yourself a community, provide value in it, like I just gave a couple examples, you can build off of that all day.
And this is literally not even just for musicians either.
That's exactly right. This
everybody,
is
dude.
Everybody out there. This is every profession. This is applicable. Same with you, dude. And it's like, that being said, like, what if you did drop an EP for $5 and your group's at 25,000 people at this point, just because you're consistently providing value? People keep wanting to come because you're bettering yourself through the practice that you're doing, and you know what I mean, and through the people you're meeting, and it's like you're getting better along the way in the process, and so your group continues to multiply. What if you had a group, and this is so common, I've got friends who sell weight loss supplements that have groups of 70,000-80,000 people, you know what I mean, just from sharing like simple basic health tips on that they find on Google. So imagine if you consistently do this for 5 years and get a group of 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 people, and you do drop an album, and you do drop like something dope, like do the math. 100,000 people, okay, that buy a song, let's just say an EP for $5, okay? Most people would agree that that's pretty fair price.
I'd buy an EP for $5. I have bought an EP for $5.
Cool. So 100,000. Okay, just to show you, 100,000 times $5. You just made $500,000, bro, in a day. If I'm telling you,
under the assumption that every single one of those people is going to buy it, but
of course,
I mean, it's a gamble.
Not everyone's going to, but over time, they may eventually. It might not be the first day, but they may eventually buy it. That's seriously like. And that's just one EP.
Just one.
That's not merch. That's not stickers. That's not the experience where you host a Zoom call and they get to do a jam session with you. That's not VIP to your next live show. You know what I mean? Like, you could literally build an entire career this way in any profession for free.
Literally just communicating with people.
For free, you guys. We live in a time and place where we have so many resources.
I mean, free, like if you're a musician, obviously you're going to have to pay for the recordings and stuff unless you do DIY, which, perfect example. I'm not like exactly a proclaimed musician, but I mean, it's something that I have done for, 12 years now, on and off.
Right.
But it's definitely something you could just pick up over time, and there's no reason for, say, I'm not doing anything really with it right now, but if I just as a hobbyist in the back burner, say like in 10 years, I get to a point and I'm like, okay, I have this like talent. I know how to record.
Right.
Really, I should be doing something with it, right? I would be ignorant at that point with myself, or I guess I would call myself ignorant if I just didn't do anything with it. So there's things that people do and have done their entire lives. They're just they think of them like these small little things that
they're so valuable though. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They're just
the things you overlook.
The nuggets, the little nuggets. And like this whole podcast, the one thing I remember growing up, that I knew for sure that I loved. I got picked on a lot. Okay. So there was very minimal interaction that I had with other students growing up that wasn't either just a blank face as if I was nobody or getting picked on. But when I made someone laugh, though, dude, if I see a room light up like that, even just once, I don't remember what moment it was. I remember I had this room cracking up. it struck a nerve in me, and I ignored that like my entire life. And even now, there's there's a lot of times where I've not that I'm a different person or like I try to be something I'm not, but I like things that are darker and moody. So like over time of spending so much time in that and listening to fucking metal and being a goth kid, like it's taken over a lot of my interests. But now that I'm like really facing like the depths of myself as I'm taking on life for the seriousness that it is, even though I thought I was like this mad, edgy, serious guy for so long, I'm like, man, who really are you? Like, what
That's
really
a powerful
do
question.
you love?
Who am I?
Yes, and
but you know what it takes to get to that question though. You can't build a building on shit, right? When you're building a fucking building, it has to be a stable, solid fucking foundation, or else the building will collapse. And so it's like when you are discovering that question of who am I, make sure the slate is clean.
That's so weird that you say that, because I feel like that happened to me unintentionally.
Yeah,
I feel like that
can,
happened
absolutely,
where I was just so that's probably the route of my life. Yeah, we're talking, we're ripping apart my life right now. But if anyone can get advice from this, is the reason that I like seriousness in this show too.
Well, you know what's crazy, dude? We're talking about like darkness and art and this kind of feel right now, but most people don't realize that the most successful artists in history lived a very dark and lonely life. They didn't have a bunch of friends. They didn't party a bunch. That's why their art was so expressive, right? And so it's like Vincent van Gogh, I believe it was, he sold one painting while he was alive. Van Gogh.
He only sold one painting?
Throughout his whole career, his whole life, he sold one painting. Now his paintings are worth, I think it said something like $45 million or something like that. And so it's like Beethoven, Bach, those people lived very, from what I've been told,
understanding,
like dark, hard lives, depressed lives, lonely lives. And so it's like a lot of people don't realize that that's kind of the life of an artist, man.
Dude.
It literally almost happens. You almost walk the path to ensure it happens.
It's organic. Oh my God, I fucking love you, Curran.
Yeah,
I love you because this is. Whoa. Wait. It's
all good.
Fucking interface. It's just what we're hearing. God damn. Hang on. It's this thing. Little. Oh.
There we go.
Fixed it. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. I don't know if I said this to you, but I've had like this growing interest in Renaissance painters and stuff like that. In specific, Leonardo da Vinci, because he had such a weird routine. That I saw this guy, I think his name is Matt Davella. He's another YouTuber who's got, I don't know, millions of followers. But he did a video talking about his routine and his creative space or whatever. He would only sleep for 2 years that we know of. He only slept in 20-minute increments. And he spent intentionally like 15 minutes painting here, 20 minutes reading, 30 minutes exercising, and he did it in blocks, and he knew exactly how the next 2 years of his life were mapped out. And like, I know that's going to make someone go crazy, only getting 20 minutes of sleep at a time. You're not even going to be able to fall asleep, really. And if you are, you're going to be in this constant state of like always falling in your sleep where you're like, oh my God,
rested.
yeah, like you're always jumping up. It just makes me wonder if like, I don't know, because I think we briefly talked about depression and stuff earlier. It makes me feel as if like I wouldn't have as much creativity in my mind if I didn't have my edge. If there wasn't always that like little bit of me that was like doubtful,
there was a reason that I wasn't able to play music for so long, because I kind of lost that, and I would literally pick up the guitar and there was nothing, like zero expression that would come out. I was in a state of like transformation because I couldn't even play happy music. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I could play, oh, there we go.
Damn.
Time.
Woo! We're gonna stop that, take a little fiver, and then jump back in, because this is fucking good conversation.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't even know how long this thing went. Sweet.
Okay, so before we were so rudely
cut off,
interrupted, thanks fucking Siri, fucking bitch. you were talking about your transformation through music, and
I was just saying, like, in general, like, it's crazy because, like, at that point, like, I couldn't even, like you were saying, like, I needed that emotional angst to be able to express.
mhm.
And, like, when I didn't have that, like, I was going through, like, a transformation of, I guess you would say, like, enlightenment, you know, like, just becoming, like, not to sound arrogant, but starting to love myself. You know,
Yeah.
for, like, the first time ever. Like, that anger, that emotion, that expression, like, wasn't there. And so it was so weird because, like, I couldn't even pick up guitar, like, when I always had been able to pick up and just jam and play for hours. So I totally feel that.
I feel like I can relate to that pretty heavily in, the last couple months. Maybe not so much now. But yeah, there was even a recent period of time where I felt stale, and I'm even like new to my dream or my profession, whatever you want to call it. But it's weird that even though that hobby is new, me loving myself was also new.
Right.
So they came.
It is for a lot of men, actually.
Dude, and it's strange because, dude, I've got to have you on
But
the
they
show
don't talk
another
about
time
it.
because we can talk about
Yeah,
that
they
for
don't-
an entire show.
Yeah, we really could.
Oh my God! Actually, I'm gonna pitch an idea, right here on the show.
Sweet.
Do you want to do? I have this idea, for sitting on my couch, and just fucking drinking whiskey and talking about guy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically guy things, but in the way where it's not like, oh, we're lumberjacks, we're hard men, but it's
Right.
talking about our
The dad
feelings.
feels.
Yeah.
Well, you're not. Sorry, man feels.
Man feels.
Man
I mean,
feels.
I would love to talk about dad feels though, because
Yeah. Well, you
if
know
I can
what?
talk to a dad before
Most
I become
people,
a dad.
yeah, most people don't actually even want to talk about that kind of stuff. Like, to be honest, like, it's sad to be the only dad at the park in the mornings on the week. Like, it's sad to be the only dad, like, at the mall with my kid at the playground. Like, that's not the weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so sad that that's the stigma of what it's supposed to be. That right there pisses me off. Like, I could talk about that all day.
Well, it's done then.
Yeah,
We're-
have to do that. But I don't know. Is rum manly enough? I don't know if I like whiskey. I like rum though.
We can drink whatever person's on. I'll let you pick, and I'll buy you a
Okay,
bottle.
Down. Oh, you don't have to buy me a bottle. I just need a little bit. But
Well, I mean,
dude, we could do the DiZerono and Coke.
oh yeah, dude, those are so good. Tastes like cherry Coke.
Yeah, dude, just like cherry Coke. If
Crazy.
you haven't tried it, DiZerono, if that's how you even say it, and Coke.
Yeah, dude, for sure we got to get some of that for the next one.
Yeah, man. So, did you have any final shebang question for me? I know you had you said you had a funny one for me.
So
don't
I have
remember what it
a funny little bit.
was. Okay.
It's kind of a 2-in-1 because I don't think that we even like talked about how we met on this show. So I met Curran at Aisle 9 through the shop in Centerville. And first off, I thought your name was Current.
A lot of people do.
Current.
I get all kinds of
But that wasn't even until after someone like, I don't specifically know the interaction of when we met, but I remember it kept hearing current.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck are people talking
yeah,
about?
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
confused. But then it's kind of funny. I saw you walk in, and I think you were wearing that hat, and you're wearing some kind of dope shirt with like some nice Nikes or something. I don't know what you was wearing. I was like, who the fuck is this guy looking like a fucking better version of me right now?
Oh man.
Damn.
Get out of here.
And like,
We just got a similar style because we grew up in the same scene.
yeah. So that was my impression of Curran. Like that was my
I love
first
it.
like, I was like, damn, bro, if you let up a little bit with
Flossing.
the yeah.
Well, dude, you know what, man? Like, it's like I wore raggedy shit for so long. It's like now that we're just not like dead ass broke. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
you gotta treat yourself every once in a while, man. Because it's like for anyone who's into any woo woo, how you feel attracts what your life is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like how you literally. That's I mean.
Into
like,
that woo woo.
Yeah, like the woo life, but it's like, you know, how you feel is what you attract. And it's like you want to feel good. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like when you have the ability to feel good, like I don't know if I should say this because Liz will probably watch this, but I just got Liz a pretty dope birthday present, but she'll feel really fucking good with this birthday present on.
Dope.
So like I'm super stoked for, you know, just that like we're able to do that. You'll be able to do that here in no time, man, if you just keep on grinding, man.
Let's hope.
But yeah, man. I get Curran. I explain it to people. I say it's like current without the T. So
So I picked up on
I
that.
picked up on that because anytime I ever have to explain it, I've had to say it so many times over my life. It's how I say it. It was, yeah. I was gonna just get off onto another tangent. I was gonna say, you know what was crazy, man, is where I grew up being the only Hispanic kid like in my class. That was a
Really?
Yeah, in a little Indiana town. Yeah, I was literally the only Cuban American kid in my entire school.
Interesting.
And I realized.
I mean,
well, yeah.
I went to Springfield High, so
Well,
we had
I
a
just
collection.
realized that like there was.
Oh God! Hang on, I gotta fix what I said.
Yeah.
I said collection. I was going to say a collection of people, not a collection of one type of person. Okay, disclaimer.
Collection
Woo!
of people. But no, I was gonna say that it was crazy because I remember like having to hide really a lot of things that I like who I was, and it sounds crazy, like almost like being afraid to be Hispanic. It's pretty wild if you like the depth of that.
I mean, you hear that all the time,
kind
but
of realizing it.
I don't
now,
want to
like,
hear that from
oh,
one of my
shit.
best friends.
Well, no, like growing up, like I realize now, like looking back, like like I was like I don't want to say treated a little differently, but I was treated a little differently for being Hispanic. It's kind of weird. A lot of people don't even think about Hispanic racism, but it's pretty gnarly. It's up there. Like if you really take a look at like the stigma of like what you think a Spanish person is, like you would think hard worker. You know what I mean? We'll mow your grass. We'll do all the dirty jobs that you don't want to do.
Hey, he's saying this because he's been through it. I didn't say nothing, okay?
No, I'm Hispanic.
Yeah.
Like, that's the perception. Like,
Yeah.
I guarantee you, anyone listening to this.
So just, as a disclaimer, because we have
Right.
PC police and everything everywhere, we're talking about a serious thing.
stigma.
Yeah, a
It's
stigma.
for real, the stigma of, like, people actually not, like, taking it seriously. Like, Hispanics are worth way more than that. They can do way more things. Like, in my opinion, like people, who's to say what someone can do? You know what I mean? Like, who's to say like this is what someone is good at? To generalize a whole
That's just
nationality of people,
just
like
racism
that
in general.
way. Yeah, it's just so fucked up, but it gets so overlooked. It gets
because
super overlooked because of all the other racism.
Exactly.
And it's like, dude, it's like, what in the world? Like, how much longer is it going to take? And we'll just end it on this. How much longer is it going to take for humanity to fucking realize that we're all just human fucking beings?
I don't think, I don't know if we'll ever get there, to be honest with you.
We'll see.
Wait.
I mean, dude, for real, it's like, what else is it going to take? You know, anytime there's a crisis, people come together. But while everything's going good, for some reason, people think that one another's better. And it's like, nah, dude, like,
I think we live in a duality of call it duality, call it poetry, whatever you want, irony. I feel like we are bound to go back and forth until one takes over the other, and ultimately, like, if you want a completely evil place, this is just totally my thoughts.
No.
If you have like a totally evil place, then there's no coming back from it. If you have a totally good place, there's no coming back from it. So, without that edge, gotta have a little heaven and hell.
Right. So, yeah. Thanks for having me on, dude.
Hey, dude.
This show's sweet.
It's fantastic. I appreciate it. Doesn't it look cool down here?
It does. We'll see if people watch this whole thing. If they do, they're going to be like, what the fuck did this dude smoke?
I know. So, that has been Studio 475. Curran, where can I find you?
Curran Alvarez on Facebook.
What's that?
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. You don't have an
that's it.
Instagram.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Stay low key now.
Low key, bye.
It's just Facebook.
You can find the show at the Studio 475 on Instagram. You can find me at the Tim Duncan. Fuck the number 21. I'm the real Tim Duncan. You can also find me on Facebook, and you can find the show on Facebook too. You can also find it on YouTube if you're not watching this.
I'm excited to share this with
my
dude,
it's gonna be so cool because I know you've got like your own little audience and stuff.
Yeah,
So,
that'd be cool.
So yeah, guys. If for any again. Totally at the end of the show, but if you watch this, I do appreciate you a lot. Like, this is all totally DIY. You know, not to toot my own horn, but I've reached out to these people, man. Will got them on the show, and I'm blessed to have each of you guys on, and all the people that are listening too. Like, You make this. No one would hear it, and no one would even know that it exists if you didn't listen to it. So
Yeah, man. Well,
fucking
thank you
great.
for hosting it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all starts with you.
Oh,
Thanks,
yeah.
dude.
That has been
Alright.
Studio 475.
Yo, what's up, everybody? I just got done wrapping up here at Studio 475 with my dude Tim Duncan. Be on the lookout for the podcast. I will make sure and post the replay as soon as I get the link. You guys are not going to want to miss this. Make sure and check it out.
God, you're way better at that than me.